Alright, so in one of the last big updates, the cloaking devices have been changed. Now they use fuel, and while I personally am not a big fan of that change, since it is honestly kinda weird to have a cloaking device eat up fuel, they could have just launched those structures that can decloak ships, but that's a topic for a different time. But the change does have an impact on literally every single covOps ship in the game. It affects Black Ops ships as well with the ordinary cloaking device, and they use about 100 gigajoule fuel every 5 seconds, which is kind of almost equal, or should I say, it actually consumes more fuel per 20 seconds than I would say the scanners do, since the scanners aren't really running all the time. So now you will have to you will have to carry extra fuel with your ship. Now, since not all ships have a equal fuel capacity, small ships have smaller capacities, larger ships have obviously larger capacities, larger fuel tanks, so the smaller ships will have the shortest cloaky runtime. So I have been using this Astero for like 3-4 years now, and I ran out of fuel on this thing quite often. You do get about 4 hours if you are only using a cloaking device, or about 2 hours if you are actively using the scanners and the cloaking device, which means if you want to go far away, if you plan to, let's say, explore for a while, you will have to carry a lot of fuel with you if you don't want to run out of fuel along the way, which would be a problematic thing if you run out of fuel deep into, let's say, hostile territory and things like that. Now, why do I say that the whole fuel consumption for a cloaking device is weird? Well, the cloaking device is a module that uses the ship's energy to produce a field that does hide the ship in space visually. It is a module that's very similar, or should I say, in technological aspect, it's the same as a web, same as a scrambler, same as a point, it is in that category. And it's weird, and can you just imagine if a web or a scrambler or an afterburner for that matter started to actually require fuel? Imagine if you have to use fuel to power your afterburner or a micro warp drive, or a damage control, because that feels like the way that we're headed at the moment. Now, actually, initially today I wanted to do some PvP, but when I logged in, I stumbled upon this scene. Honestly, if you were to ask me what the hell is going on here, I have absolutely no idea. So there's a Garmor and there is a Vindicator, and yeah, seems like the Garmor has failed to destroy the Vindicator, but for some reason they're not warping off. So yeah, this kind of completely ruined my mood for PvP for the day, since if you engage a target and if you fail to destroy it, at least warp away from it, just warp away from it.
Warp drive active.
And let someone else handle the work, since now the Vindicator is aligned, and if I were to warp in, they would warp off. So yeah, that's kind of a ruined moment, but I figured out it would be kind of fun to show that. So let's do a exploration run with the Stratios here. And what I mean with the previous funny scene. I mean, I literally never, like, when I fail to destroy something, when I have to warp off, I warp out and I don't return on the same spot, since that would be pretty weird. So I don't know what was going on there. I just had that bad feeling that something was off. So nope, I decided to do exploration. Always trust your sixth sense, because usually your sixth sense knows something that you don't. So I think it was a good idea that I left that field there, since not everything was, didn't feel like everything was right in that since, you know, in that scenario there. Anyway, with the Astero, with the Astero, as I already mentioned, I did run out of fuel quite often on that ship, and I have been using it usually, primarily, to scan down ships and, you know, to scout for the
Autopilot engaged.
combat ship and then to warp in and destroy the target. So the Astro has been used as a combat
Warp drive
explorer.
active.
In some cases, the Astro actually did have some combat. You did see some combat in some cases, depending on the ship, of course.
Warp drive active.
So approximately, I think I did have a total of about 3 hours of being cloaked without having to refuel, which I would say is not too bad. I mean, you can visit a whole region in that time. I mean, you can actually go to multiple regions within that time. You can span the scanners, and you should still have enough fuel on a single charge to go in and to basically go out. So I don't really think that it will change a lot of things, the new cloak mechanic. I mean, definitely is a big change, since now you actually have to carry fuel, and if you plan to go in the Kalevala expanse and similar regions, you will have to carry a lot of fuel, since you don't know when you will be getting out of those regions, especially if you are being camped. So fuel is definitely very important, and now I would say fuel is slowly becoming one of the more valuable resources in the game. Can you imagine the chaos we would have right now if the developers decided to just pull a scarcity event or
engaged.
something, and the fuel and everything, all the reserves
drive active.
start to get depleted? Can you imagine how much fuel would actually start to be on the market? Plasmoids would quickly overtake Plex in
Warp
price
drive
cost,
active.
because fuel is very, very used now. Every single ship in the game uses fuel in one way or the other. You have all different special modules that use fuel. You have cloaks now that use fuel. One good thing for the cloaks that is a honestly good change is the fact that even alpha clones can use the prototype cloaking device. So you can use the best cloaking device as an alpha clone now. And that, honestly, that's a fantastic change. I'm all in for that. You also can use the prototype drones, the highest tier drones now, as an alpha clone. There is no restrictions on those weapon systems anymore. There is no restrictions on cloaks anymore, which means very soon there is going to be even less restrictions. I mean, we already had that. We already said that probably a million times by now, but we are headed into the less restrictions for the alpha clone scenario, which I would say is awesome. I would also say there's going to be a lot of ships that are no longer going to be exclusive Omega clone ships. I think like tier 8 ships will become available to alpha clones, maybe tier 9 ships, classic tier 9 ships might be available to alpha clones. You might be able to file battleship as an alpha clone, and I think the skill restrictions will also be lifted for all skills, especially the advanced skills. They will be, I think, they will be lifted to some extent. You will be able to skill into the advanced skills to some extent. So honestly, in that aspect, it's a incredible change. It didn't happen yet, but I'm fairly sure it will happen very soon. So that's one thing that I'm actually quite excited about, and I'm looking forward to it. Maybe even some new exclusive ships for Alpha Cons as well. That will be pretty awesome. That will be awesome too. So, with the Stratios so far, no issues with the... I mean, this thing has a semi-large fuel tank, so you are not going to be running out of fuel on this thing anytime soon.
Warp drive active.
Although, I purposefully use 2 scanners and a
Autopilot
Cloak
engaged.
to put pressure on the fuel tank to see how long it will last. And I have been using this ship for like how many months, years? I don't know. I've been using it for a while, and the fuel
Warp
still
drive active.
keeps about a good level. So with the cruisers and above, you will definitely have a much more enjoyable experience when it comes to the overall fuel capacity. You will not run into any problems regarding that. At one point you will have to refuel though. You don't have a infinite amount of fuel, so that's one thing to keep in mind while using not only the Stratios, but
Warp drive active.
any other cruiser that you decide to use for exploration. I mean, you can technically use covOps cruisers, the combat ones, for exploration. I used to do that with the RB back in the day, before I used the Astero. But yeah, you can use any ship works for this. The Jovian ships are the second best or third best after the Sister of Eve ships and after the exploration frigates. They're also quite interesting, honestly. And they have been buffed, although I never really had the time to check them out, but I guess I'll have to check them out eventually. I still prefer the Astero though, since you can fly the Astero as a AlphaCon just fine. After all, faction ships have no tech level restriction. And that is pretty awesome. That fact alone puts the Astero above every single other exploration frigate in the game. The Astero is still number one, and it will always be number one. There's just no other way around it. Maybe the other have some advantage in being cheaper to use, but nothing beats the Sister of Eve ships when it comes to exploration. They're just... There will always be top. And I just realized, soon it will be 5 years. I mean, I think it's already 5 years since I've technically started to play this game. I also count the closed beta and alpha test, since I was part of that as well back in 2019. And why do I mention that? Well, usually, I mean, in the last decade, from 2009 to 2019, 2020, the average time I spent playing a game, a single game, for this matter, I'm talking about MMO games, multiplayer games. On average, I spent about 5 years playing a MMO before quitting. I am 5 years deep into this game, so I think this is going to be the decisive year. If I manage to keep playing this game into 2025, then I'll be in this game for the next 5 years. If not, well, I mean, there's a 50-50 chance that this is going to be my last year in Ivecos. Not because I don't like the game or anything, I love the game, but I'm basing that on the previous experience with previous games that I played from 2009 to 2019. The last 3 MMOs I played exactly 5 years before quitting them. I don't know why 5 years, and even recently actually, the game called Punishing Grey Raven, you might have seen that. I basically started this channel on that game, technically. But I played that from 2019 maybe a bit early, maybe from 2018 or something. But I've been playing that game in the very early days. Let's say 2018. I've been playing that up until last month when I decided to stop playing that game, which is about 5 years again. So there's that date again, 5 years again, 5 years. So I don't know. I mean, I hope I
Autopilot
keep
engaged.
playing this game, but man, let me tell you, those 5 years kind of make me
Warp
worried a
drive
little bit.
active.
Not gonna lie. I don't know why, but and I realized that quite recently that the average time that I spend playing a MMO is 5 years.
Warp drive active.
Doesn't mean that it has to be applied for this game. I mean, I'm fairly sure, and I'm saying I'm fairly sure I'll be here for a very long time in this game. But at the same time, I have to be honest, since that's that was basically my experience with the previous MMOs that I played, about 5 years. But I don't think that it will be the same for evac. I think I'll be with this game until the very end. So I'm not really paying much attention to that, to the date, but it just popped in my mind recently since the anniversary is very close. And technically I've been playing the game way before it was launched. And I also count that as I mean literally playing the game. So yeah. In any case, I think the journey has been amazing so far. You know, when I think about it, in the last like 5 years of playing the game, I made a lot of progress from a Talvar, from the early days in a Talvar, to the revelation to a dreadnought, and then I went to cruisers again and battleships. I had the chance to fly super capitals, I had the chance to fly all sorts of weird ships. The only thing I did not fly are Titans. That's the only thing I'm missing. I really need to fly Titans in this game. Just so I can complete the year-long journey that I imagined in the early days. Holy crap, it's really been 5 years since I started to play this game. It's kind of amazing. So many battles, so many fleets, so much fun. Yeah, this is definitely going to be a game that I'll remember. This is going to be a game that I'll definitely remember for a very long time. It's been the same thing with some other games that I used to play. I still remember every single detail of those games, and I think I'll also remember this game, since it's so unique. And very happy that I managed to actually record like most of it, so I can always go back and see. Oh, I can always launch YouTube and see what I used to do. Now, this player in local, I did scan their ship. I think it's an Astero. I didn't have any visual though, but the signature is a signature of an Astero. And you might be, well, how do you know what signature is for what ship? Well, I mean, I've been scanning for so long. I can tell you what ship it is from a single line. So that's 100% an Astero. And maybe they want to go, maybe they failed to scan and they're checking, and actually had the idea to wait for them and to destroy the ship. But at the same time, I'm not really after destroying ships at the moment. But I had the idea. I'm actually waiting for them to land. But they did not land. If they did land, I would engage. I would definitely go after them. That would definitely happen. But maybe we have a smart Aster pilot there and they decided not to warp in. A smart decision indeed. Since I'm always after destroying ships. Even though in this case I'm primarily not after hunting ships, primarily after opening boxes, but I'm not going to say no to a Astero, you know. No one will say no to an Astero, especially
Autopilot
in an exploration
engaged.
site where you wait like a spider. I need to start like, I think I need to camp exploration sites again.
Warp drive active.
I had a lot of, actually, you'll be surprised, I had a lot of success with that. When I actually camp exploration sites, I actually do really well. I usually kill like a couple Asteros, a couple interceptors, stuff like that. And usually it is profitable. However, recently the loot fairy wasn't really a fan of me for some
Warp
reason,
drive
so
active.
the loot fairy just said no. But yeah, I mean, I've had actually lots of success with hunting Asteros and other exploration ships in these sites. And there's a lot of explorers out there now. Definitely a lot more players are doing exploration than before, which is a good thing, since they really did improve the overall spawn mechanics. I can tell you, there is a lot more sites there than there used to be. I would say the old mechanics still apply, and you should always clear a site when you find a site. Never leave a box, since that prevents it from respawning and prevents you from actually potentially finding more sites and more ISK. But from my random exploration roam that I decided on a random time, on a random day, I think I actually did really well. I feel like it's much better than it used to be. It's also more profitable now, since we have received all sorts of new stuff. The needle jacks, for example, and things like that are very valuable. Especially those that allow you to jump into the Kalevala expense. They are actually quite pricey and expensive. And some others as well. They are quite valuable in the market from what I've seen. And I think you will also see that in this video, since I think I got one or two. And I will open the... I think it's in this little scene here. But yeah, I'll open it up in any case. So you... There it is. Yeah, there it is. Found it. As a expensive one. I think over 500 million. You can also find these rare chips that are worth over 2 billion. And some rig blueprints. So there's definitely a lot of things to do with exploration. It's relaxing. And it has the potential to be extremely profitable. You just have to have patience, basically, and you just have to know where to look. Nothing else. That's the only thing that you need to know while running exploration. And yeah, I actually did have two sites here. Ironically, I think the second site has been kind of semi-looted, but I'm not entirely sure. Again, I'm telling you, I really need to start hunting Asteros. I need to put the number of explorers. I need to lower the number a little bit. There's a lot of expensive scanners that I can farm quite easily. And I have my hunting systems. These systems here are not the systems that I usually go. These are my test systems. I usually go here to test out some theories, and usually the theories end up being correct. So you will not see me here often in these systems. That's what I'm saying. I'm usually somewhere different, in a different region where I like to hunt explorers. I mean, Deep Losec is not really the ideal position or ideal place to hunt Asteros. You really want to aim at the more populated Losec areas where there is more traffic. Deep Losec, if you find an Astero in Deep Losec, that Astero usually knows what they're doing, and they will not fall for the trap. Asteros in the Losec that's very close to Highsec, usually those Asteros are new Astero pilots, and usually they're the easiest target. Not only Astero, but any other ship really. Those explorers in Deep Losec know what they're doing, since if they're already there, they know to avoid hunters. They know to avoid Stratios cruisers and ships like that. In all systems, it really depends. In all systems, it's a 50-50. You can stumble upon an experienced one, you can also stumble upon a new one. So, yeah. But when it comes to low-sec Asteros, deep low-sec Asteros know what they're doing. And catching them in a trap is maybe not exactly impossible, but you know, it's definitely difficult to catch someone who knows what they're doing, and if they smell a trap, they'll be gone. Without they will not even visit the anomaly where you're camping. Anyway, honestly, the cloaks, well, I don't know. I mean, from my personal experience, it doesn't really affect what I do. It does affect AFK cameras, though. You have to refuel them. It does affect that, I guess. The AFK part has been affected, so you can no longer park a alt and just keep the alt there permanently. You have to refill it at one point. So maybe a good change. I will still say that a decloak structure would be the better approach for this, without completely messing up a module that didn't have to have any change done to it. I mean, a decloak structure in sovereignty systems and cloaks will no longer save you. So I still think that's the right thing. That was the right thing to do. Maybe we'll see that at one point. I don't know. But with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. It was a kind of a more relaxing video today for sure. No combat, just good old exploring and just good old enjoying the game for what it is. But with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. If you would like to support me, feel free to like and subscribe. And with that being said, stay safe, play safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.